Steve in America. This is Symbolic in San Francisco. Great video. Um, Intellectual courage, intellectual bravery, almost a dying virtue. Second only to intellectual integrity. In any event, I commend you. I commend you. I know that's an intense process, and it does take a lot of courage when you start thinking seriously about, is life meaningless? What would I do if I if I discovered it were? Um, I also am driven to know the truth immediately. If there were a box, and I knew with absolute certainty that the answer in the box were true, and I knew that the box was going to tell me whether there was meaning in life or there was no meaning in life, whether it was meaningless, I would open the box without hesitation. I have to know. It's the way I've always been that way. I would just have to know. And if it came out that life was meaningless, well, I would just have to build my own value system around things. If it were 2,000 years ago, and I knew with certainty that life were meaningless, would I create a religion that would give people hope? No, I would not, because I would basically be lying to them. Um, as I say, a different value system would need to be structured, a more subjective value system of some sort. But I wouldn't want to create a false religion under those circumstances. Now, back to the present day. Um, I don't know if there's meaning to life. I suspect there is. I don't know. I hope there is. I don't know. But I don't commit suicide. Um, because if we assume that, I don't commit suicide in order to find out. I think it's a really legitimate question you ask. It's a great question. One reason I don't commit suicide to find out is I have no guarantee that upon death I am going to retain any consciousness at all. And I would need the consciousness in order to get the answer. To determine whether to find the answer. If upon death everything suddenly went blank, which was actually the belief of my family. I was raised atheist, and their belief was that when you die, it's all over, emptiness. The film is over, and the reel is just flipping around. Click, 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 click. So no consciousness would survive to realize whether or not there was any meaning. So that's one reason I don't commit suicide. I like the user with the number. Is it 303-636 or 505-636? His approach was great. That maybe the purpose of life is to ask why. That's a great one. That's possible too. The other reasons I wouldn't commit suicide, it would certainly bum out people, cause some suffering to people who know me. That's another reason. And why not go along for the ride? Given that I've no guarantee that committing suicide is going to actually learn anything from it. Interestingly enough, the question of whether or not there is a creator, I think is fascinating question. Fascinating question. But what really causes me a question? Here's what I wonder: how do we account for beauty? Now, I could come up with some theory of beauty that's based on evolution, and the attraction of female for male, and I could say, well, that's sublimated intellectually till we come up with, a whole sense of aesthetics, which is probably something that Jung would say, or Freud and Jung, or something like that. But I wouldn't be able to disprove that. But still, to me, I'm just mystified that the world is beautiful. There doesn't have to be beauty, right? We could see one or two less colors. Everything could be a little uglier. Of course, if I were born into a universe that was slightly more beautiful, I would be then looking down at this state and saying, "Oh, how impoverished! Why, gosh, why is the world as beautiful as it is? Why isn't this as impoverished as the world I currently inhabit?" So I'm not sure that there's a solution there. But I find beauty in mathematics. I find a great deal of beauty in mathematics, and I really can't account for that as a sublimated sexual urge. I don't know. How rarefied can sublimation be? In any event, I find the occurrence of beauty um, mystifying, you know, and the truth of mathematics, I find that sort of mystifying. Uh, but I don't, as I say, I don't know whether there's meaning to it. But it's an interesting world, quite beautiful, and and there are a lot of interesting questions in it. So I am now going to sign off because I am starting to wander inexcusably. Thanks for the great video, man. Good thinking. Take care. Bye bye.